These are foods that do not just one thing, but they do multiple things to light up your life, including vision, including brain health, including heart health, including muscle function.
Our brain is a powerhouse that requires high-quality fuel to function at its best. Did you know 20% of the calories you consume are used by your brain? But it's not just any calories. The right nutrients can enhance your cognitive abilities and even protect your brain as you age. Dr. William Li is a world-renowned physician, scientist, and author of the best-selling book, Eat to Beat Disease. He's a pioneer in food as medicine research, focusing on how what we eat can fight disease, boost immunity, and improve overall health. With over 40 years of groundbreaking work, Dr. Li has contributed to more than 100 scientific publications and collaborated with leading health organizations worldwide.
It's time for us to actually take control of our own health by understanding our own body and understanding what it is that we actually love to eat and where the science is that can support the things that we should eat that can help us improve our immune systems and lower our inflammation and kind of contend with the world so that we can go back out and regain our lives and act more freely in ways that are actually just better for us. Even if we didn't have the pandemic, we'd actually be able to live longer, healthier, better lives. So that's one of the things that I want to share with you. I'm really proud to share with you. And here's sort of like one of my key messages. There's no single superfood. It's really the body that is actually superb in terms of how its reaction. So I'm going to tell you about how the body responds. So let's get started.
Our brains thrive on nutrients that protect cells, reduce inflammation, and enhance communication between neurons. By choosing the right foods, we can unlock our brain's full potential. Let's explore the top superfoods for brain health.
We do know that mushrooms, which have dietary fiber, have something about a bioactive called beta-D-glucan. Beta-D-glucan, by the way, is really good for your endothelium, your lining, good for blood vessels of the body, also good for blood vessels of the brain. It's also anti-inflammatory, also improves your immune system as well. This beta-glucan is also found in oats, so like oatmeal. And so we took a page of the playbook from what we've learned from mushrooms, because we know that the beta-D-glucan can be important for healing. And we extracted from oats and tested to see if the oats beta-glucan will actually have healing. And guess what we found? And we presented this last year at a wound meeting. In the lab, when you actually treat a wound with oat-derived bioactives, including beta-glucan, you can double the rate of normal healing. You can speed up normal healing. You can improve the circulation underneath the surface. So after the wound is healed, kind of like the covering is shut, right? It's like, but what about underneath? Well, we found that beta-D-glucan from oats will actually improve the circulation, better blood flow, which is what you want for better healthy tissue, right? And we also found when we cut out the wound and look under the microscope, something startling. The wound that healed is scarless, no scar. Okay. And then when we looked even deeper, we found that part of what made it scarless was it recruited stem cells, right? Now, here's another really cool research that this is really, really new. It was published in the journal Nature Medicine. It was a study from the Cleveland Clinic, which is a major medical center. Remember, I told you, all science-based information that's rigorously done, generating the evidence that you can trust because it's science. This was a study of 7 million people. That's a big study. They looked in the electronic medical records. They looked for diseases that these people had of 7 million people, and they looked at the medicines they were having to see if there's any correlations. Was there any medicine that somebody was taking that might lower disease? Guess what they found? They found there was one medicine that lowered the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 67%. Wow. In the study of 7 million people, no bias, just going in there and using a computer to figure out were there any medicines people were taking that lowered any disease. One medicine lowered the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 67%. What was that medicine? Guess what? Viagra for erectile dysfunction. People taking Viagra for erectile dysfunction had the lower risk of Alzheimer's disease by 67%. Holy cow. How would that work? Well, it turns out Viagra not only dilates the blood vessels in your genitals, okay, it also dilates the blood vessels in your brain, better circulation for your brain. And the way it dilates blood vessels, widens blood vessels, is through something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide stimulates stem cells to regenerate your organs. So not only do you have better blood flow in your brain, you also have more stem cells in your brain. Remember I told you about the Chinese celery and the stem cells to treat stroke? So now this is an interesting piece of research that asks what else could stimulate nitric oxide that might be able to stimulate stem cells and widen blood vessels that might be able to do what we observe with Viagra. So this is actually an area of research I'm doing right now. Guess what? There's a food that will do that, and I will tell you what it is. Beets. Beets actually will grow low to the ground, and so does spinach, absorb a lot of nitrogen from the soil, and when you chew it, the gut bacteria that starts in your tongue microbiome, converts the nitrogen from the soil in the beet into a form that when you swallow it, gets absorbed into your bloodstream as nitric oxide. Does something very similar to Viagra without the genital effect, obviously. But that's now a really interesting area of research to wonder whether or not beets, and by the way, if you don't like regular beets or can't find them, beet juice, look at this. Now this has been studied in humans and shown to also recruit stem cells and lower blood pressure. By the way, for every 1 point of blood pressure you lower with beet juice, you decrease the risk of stroke by 5%. So this is stuff that makes a difference. It's been studied in humans, quite amazing. Now, if you want sort of what I call grand slammer foods, these are foods that do not just one thing, but they do multiple things to light up your life, okay, light up your health, including vision, including brain health, including heart health, including muscle function. If you're trying to be fit and you're working out and you want better muscles, you need to regenerate your muscles, you need better blood flow. So I'm going to give 3 grand slamming foods that I think are just winners. Number 1, tea. All right. Tea is the second most commonly drank beverage in the world. I have one as well. Okay. And we used to think that green tea was like the best. Probably is. But recent research has shown that green tea, oolong tea, black tea, even super fermented tea like pu'er tea, which is a tea from Southwest China, all light up your health. Better for gut health, better for circulation, better for brain health, lowers depression, improves your blood pressure. Amazing, but scientifically shown and clinically shown benefits. So tea is one category to add in your life. By the way, don't add sugar to your tea. All right, drink it as straight as you can. And if you're going to add sugar, if you're going to put sweeteners, you can use honey, or you can use sort of more natural sweeteners. Just don't dump lots and lots of cane sugar into it. And dairy too. I'm giving you some fine points here, but they're practical. I think people like practical things, you know. The British tea is actually to use milk in your tea, the afternoon tea, have a little milk or cream to your tea. A lot of people like that. Look, yeah, the polyphenols in the tea, the catechins that are good for us, that's what lights up your life. They get caught in the little soap bubbles that cow dairy actually forms in tea. These are invisible soap bubbles. You can't see them, but chemically they form soap bubbles. When you drink it, actually this stuff, the catechins, actually are still stuck in the bubble and they just go right through your stomach. And so you only absorb maybe 30% of the good stuff. The rest of it just kind of tumbles out of you, all right? And so if you want to get the most, I always talk about getting the most out of whatever effort you're doing. If you hold back on the dairy, nut milk is okay. It's the cow milk that actually forms those bubbles. So almond milk, soy milk, those are fine if you want to cut it. That's so tea, something to include. Second, berries. I'm using berries as a category, so you get to choose your own, all right? Strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, lingonberries. You pick your huckleberries, pick your own wherever you are. They are tiny but powerful because the bright colors, the blues, the reds, the oranges are all caused by and the amazing flavors that pop out of a ripe berry is actually made with is caused by these bioactives, polyphenols, the ellagic acid, the anthocyanins that really, really light up your health in all kinds of different ways. And by the way, for berries, here's something practical. Look, I'm a big believer in going to the farmer's market and buying the seasonal fresh berries. But here's the thing. You can actually get frozen berries, which are less expensive, and you can buy them in bulk and store them in your freezer, easier to deal with, okay? And they have the same bioactive value. They're picked from the field, flash frozen, and you're good. So second, berries. Choose your own. They're all good, fresh or frozen. I'd still recommend that you go for those now that you have some room because you're removed other thing. Third thing that I would actually tell you is Brassica, which is a category of vegetable, all right? If you're in Asia, that'd be bok choy, gai lan. These are all the kinds of very common if you go to your local Asian grocery store. almost all the fresh greens in the produce section are going to be Brassica, all right? But if you're on the other side, the Mediterranean, which you also know is a super healthy way of eating, you're talking about your broccoli, you're talking about your black kale, the Tuscan kale, the cavallonero, you're talking about your cauliflower, all kinds of different types of greens of different sorts. Great source of dietary fiber, great source of bioactives that actually light up your brain health and light up your blood vessel, your vascular health, and light up your immune health while lowering inflammation. And you get to choose from the repertoire of Mediterranean recipes going back generations, or the repertoire of Asian recipes, to be able to find ways to take the salad bar, which I find one of the most boring things that you can actually encounter, and to turn it into something that you would actually look forward to eating because it really, really tastes great. So the three things I would take: tea, berries, and this whole Brassica side that you'd find in the produce section of either the Mediterranean market or grocery store or the Asian market. And now there's no excuse not to be able to find something green that you'd like to eat.
Remember, superfoods are just one part of the equation. Combine them with regular exercise, good sleep, and stress management for the best results. These are just some of the ways you can fuel your brain with the power of food. Start incorporating these superfoods today and feel the difference. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more science-backed health tips.